My body swap with my brother changed my parents' preconceived notions. I was the true daughter of the prestigious Qui family, mistakenly switched at birth. After a period of hardship outside, they finally found me and brought me home. Not long after, I swapped bodies with my brother, and he utterly despised me. Just a second ago, my unofficial brother threatened me. We are just strangers related by blood. Anya is the sister I grew up with. If you dare to bully her, I won't hold back. Immediately after, he fell victim to the fake heiress's schemes in my body. Seeing the pleading look in his eyes, I just smiled and said, "Why don't you dote on her anymore? Isn't she your good sister?" My name is Mayan. I grew up in the mountains since I was little. When my birth parents came to find me, I was holding a wooden stick fighting with some villagers. I clutched the stick tightly, cursing loudly, ready to charge into a fight at any moment. The village chief stopped us, chasing the kids away. Behind him was a middle-aged couple, elegantly dressed. They looked at me with disbelief, instinctively taking a step back. Finally, the middle-aged woman, her eyes welling up with tears, came and hugged me. Mayan, my daughter, mother has finally found her daughter. I pushed her away with my wooden stick. Auntie, did you step on chicken poop? I didn't understand why she was acting so hysterical. The middle-aged man's eyes were bloodshot. He explained that due to a past mistake, they and my birth parents had swapped children. I was their true daughter. Seeing that I didn't resist, they both hugged me, sobbing, promising to make up for the years of deprivation I'd suffered. Meeting them for the first time, I felt nothing special. I grew up in a patriarchal family. Since I was 7, I helped with chores, washing clothes, cooking, feeding pigs, herding chickens, cutting grass for livestock. I was only allowed to study after all the work was done. I always had to proactively take care of my elder and younger brothers. My strongest memories of my parents were them often scolding me as useless, taking out their anger on me when they lost card games. They would hit me with great force. My father always used glass liquor bottles, hitting me without mercy. My mother always used clothes hangers, stopping only when blood stains remained on my body. When I was 15, my parents almost sold me as a wife to a boy at the head of the village when his family offered 20,000 yuan as a bride price. If Principal Liu hadn't saved me, I would have dropped out of school very early. I hadn't felt much family affection, so I didn't understand why this middle-aged couple was hugging me and crying so tragically. But when I saw my adoptive parents inside the house, looking at me anxiously, my heart felt much lighter. Could it be that they weren't my birth parents, which is why they treated me so poorly? I never actually thought about leaving my current school because I couldn't bear to leave Principal Liu, but she advised me to leave the mountains and live a better life. Seeing my teachers and friends bidding me farewell, I secretly vowed to myself that I would study hard. Once I finished my studies, I would return to help Principal Liu save many other girls in the mountains, bringing advanced knowledge from the big city. I followed my parents to the Kui family home. A boy and a girl came to greet us. The girl was half a head taller than me, fashionably dressed. It was clear she was a pampered princess. "Mayan, this is Anya, and Arthur," Mother Kui introduced. Anya, a name that sounded so sweet and lovely, but contrary to my memories, it proved that my birth parents were not the type of people who favored sons over daughters. I thought seriously. Anya forced a smile. "Welcome home." Although she tried to hide it, I could still see her discomfort and resistance. I understood this feeling perfectly, just like the neighbor's pet dog when its territory is invaded. "You must be Mayan, right? My name sounds interesting too," the girl asked perfunctorily, trying to appear cheerful. I was born on the exact day of the Mayan festival. My parents found naming a bit troublesome, so they just followed the lunar calendar. This alone was enough to show she was a flower grown in a greenhouse, while I was a weed anyone could trample, but I couldn't blame her. She and I were just children whose lives were swapped. How could we blame fate for toying with people? "I'm sorry, I've taken the life that was rightfully yours." She clasped my hand, apologizing, bursting into tears, continuing to beg for my forgiveness. I didn't respond, just watched her silently. When we were swapped, it wasn't her fault, but for over a decade, I was the one who suffered on her behalf. She took my life, snatching away what I should have had. I am human, I feel this too. To live harmoniously with her, with a river water doesn't cross well water mentality, that was my limit. I couldn't watch her cry like that out of pity. Seeing my lack of response, Anya bit her lip tightly and lowered her head. "I'm sorry," Arthur frowned. "Do you really need to torment her like this?" "Anya is innocent, the swap wasn't her fault. She's pitiful too." My Qui parents, though not explicitly disagreeing, clearly didn't approve. They looked at me as if my refusal to accept Anya's apology was utterly rude. I said nothing, narrowing my eyes. Brother, are your eyes blind? What's so pitiful about her? Before I came, she lived so happily. I've returned to the Qui family, but we're not taking her away. She'll continue to be raised here. Where exactly is she suffering? Arthur was speechless by my words, falling silent for a long time. Anya's face turned pale. She hastily explained, I don't feel uncomfortable. I don't feel distressed. She said that, yet she looked increasingly pathetic. Moreover, this time my parents weren't staring at her because what I said was entirely true. Perhaps because it was our first meeting and I had spoken such harsh words, Anya secretly tried to overpower me. I didn't pay attention to her because her petty schemes were not worth my concern compared to my life in the mountains, until she heard others say that her childhood friend, Julian, only wanted to be with the real treasure of the Qui family. That's when she truly collapsed, embracing me tightly, then jumping down the stairs. We both fell onto Arthur, who was trying to save us. The three of us were quickly rushed to the hospital. When I finally woke up, I knew I had swapped souls with Arthur. It had been half a month since I became my brother. Every time I looked in the mirror, I was startled by my own reflection. With my severe myopia, everything was a blur without glasses. Even with glasses, I was still trying to endure the discomfort. As soon as I stepped out the door, Arthur stopped me. To be precise, Arthur's soul, now inhabiting my body, confronted me with a gloomy expression. Where did you take my body yesterday? I replied truthfully. I received a call from Julian saying that Principal Liu had an accident, so I brought her here. The situation was critical. I had no other choice. Principal Liu was the principal of my high school. If she hadn't protected me, spending 20,000 yuan of her own money to help my parents, I would have been sold off to that scoundrel in the village long ago. How would I have had the chance to continue high school? Other girls in neighboring villages also benefited from Principal Liu. She went door to door, persuading families to let their daughters attend school instead of dropping out for marriage. In recent years, Principal Liu's actions had gained widespread media attention. For the first time, Principal Liu was invited to Haithan to give a speech, and Julian accompanied her. Yesterday afternoon, I received a call from Julian. After our souls swapped places, I quickly gave Arthur's phone number to my old friends. When the incident happened, they couldn't contact Mayan, so they informed me. I rushed to the hospital. After confirming Principal Liu wasn't seriously injured, I returned to the hospital to settle the treatment costs. Arthur looked at me, his face filled with anxiety. You're not hurt, are you, Mayan? If anything happens, I'm here. You go to work. Why did you abandon my university admissions interview for such a trivial matter? Do you want to ruin my life? That was a human life, I retorted. Principal Liu is not just a teacher to me. She's family who rescued me from a living hell. Besides, the admissions interview lasts 3 days. I was only gone yesterday afternoon. Arthur was furious. Do you remember how much I contributed to those admissions interviews? You're in my body now. You're gambling with my life. Use your brain a little. Do you deserve to be my sister? You're not even worth a strand of Anya's hair. I'm sorry, but you don't deserve to be my brother either. I shot back without hesitation. All this time, Anya had been jealous of me and Julian, yet he stubbornly insisted on treating her as his good sister. I felt annoyed. After I returned to the Kui family, this fake brother never looked at me objectively. Sometimes, he even tried to bring me down, as if I were a stain in his eyes. He continued to curse. Do you know how ashamed you make me? Why isn't Anya the one I'm related to by blood? I glared at him. Let me tell you, if I had to do it over 100 times, I would still choose to save a life. Are you so smart? Then tell me, if your parents were in trouble today, would you say, just call the police, don't affect my interview? He was humiliated by my words, so angry he left a long curse and stormed off. Don't be arrogant. Even if mother and father accept you, in my heart, I will always consider Anya their daughter. But not long after, his good sister, Anya taught him a lesson with her own hands. On Thursday afternoon, I heard my classmates talking. Someone had stolen exam papers, leading to a leak. All M-grade students had to retake their midterm exams. The entire M-grade was practically exploding, the school website flooded with curses, all directed at the thief. While I was wondering, I was called to the homeroom teacher's office. As I walked in, I saw Anya and Arthur standing there. She immediately approached me, but Arthur seemed worried, clutching his handbag. On the table next to it was my iPad, a gift from my Kui parents when I first came home. Oh, it's certainly not what I think it is, I thought. My mother and father were attending a business conference out of town and couldn't come back, so the teacher could only call me and my fake brother. The homeroom teacher picked up the iPad and showed me. He frowned and told me that a week before the midterm exam, he had seen someone secretly log into his computer and copy the exam papers. However, they hadn't been able to find the culprit until today. A student reported that they found the electronic version of the 10th grade exam papers on Mayan's iPad, along with Mayan's midterm exam scores, which were top of the entire grade, far exceeding her usual scores. This made everyone suspicious. If he had done the exam papers beforehand, then this sudden surge in scores in a short time would be explainable. Anya furrowed her brows, her voice revealing a hint of barely perceptible resentment. She might just be too desperate for success. The homeroom teacher was disappointed. Scores are not the key issue. This is a matter of ethics. How can someone resort to such underhanded tactics just to be at the top? I didn't do it. I took this exam myself to be at the top of the class. Mayan, my body, exclaimed. I knew Mayan was telling the truth. My fake brother, despite his poor character, had high scores. A 10th grade midterm exam was a small matter for him. He being at the top, I didn't know, but the problem was no one knew we had swapped souls. Although I used to have relatively good grades, a high school in the mountains couldn't compete with a top national private school. Our teachers in the mountains often taught us how to memorize and use tactics to guess answers. That was the only method they could think of. Only when I returned to high school did I notice the clear difference. Our teachers were not only alumni of famous universities, but some were also valedictorians of recent university entrance exams. They taught us how to plan and build our future. There were also specialized teachers who helped us plan to enter prestigious universities. It was the first time I realized there wasn't just *1 path to a prestigious university, and also the first time I felt the immense change brought by family circumstances. Wealthy people prioritized education more and were willing to provide more resources. I could easily notice the difference between myself and other students. Even though I tried my best, my parents hired tutors for me, but in a short time, I struggled immensely, my scores only reaching average. In contrast, Arthur, who possessed my body, performed well multiple times in small tests. This made my parents and teachers believe I had made remarkable progress. I walked closer to him and asked, "What exactly happened?" He remained silent for a long time before quietly saying, "Anya did it. She borrowed my iPad. She must have used my iPad to do all these things." "It's been so long, didn't you notice anything unusual with your tablet?" I asked, exasperated. "She saved the exam papers in a place I rarely use. I didn't notice," he whispered. "This isn't me. You have to think of a solution for me." He looked at me with pleading eyes. I found it quite strange. He was always considered a brilliant talent, yet when Anya tricked him, he had to rely on someone else to solve it. When Anya tricked me, I immediately started thinking of solutions. Why did he have to become the one needing help? I chuckled at him. "Right, she's not your good sister anymore, is she?" His lips were white. He couldn't utter a word, finally collapsing to the side, ignoring everyone. I shook my head, thinking that his psychological resilience wasn't as high as mine. Anya came in and quietly told me to give her some time. She definitely won't be able to handle admitting she stole the exam papers. "Anya, Mayan says you did this. I want to hear the truth. After all, this body is mine. I want it back, so I can't let myself be wrongly accused." Anya suddenly looked ashamed, lifting her head, not daring to look at me. During the days when Arthur and I swapped bodies, when she wasn't Mayan, Anya truly didn't have many tricks up her sleeve. She was a pampered child, a bit arrogant. Just like last time when she angrily pushed me down the stairs, she actually inadvertently used her body as a cushion for me, but she herself fell very painfully. She bit her lip tightly, hesitating for a long time before saying, "I did it. I used your account to do everything." "So, do you know the homeroom teacher is asking you to apologize to all the teachers and students in the school?" I looked at her. Anya was astonished. "It's that serious." "But Julian said this happened in middle school. This is just a normal midterm exam. At most, the teacher will scold me a bit. Recently, Mayan's scores have soared. My parents are always scolding me for not being as good as Mayan, but I really can't test as well as her. That's why I thought of this." Anya's voice grew quieter as she spoke. Hearing Julian's name, I felt suspicious. "What's your connection to Julian?" She didn't dare to ask me further. "Julian told me to do it." High school isn't like middle school. The school has been strictly enforcing discipline recently. Mayan seems to have hit a sensitive spot. I looked at her. She bit her lip, clenching her hands as if she had made a decision. From now on, I'll go confess to the teachers. I just wanted to teach her a lesson. I didn't intend to make a big deal out of it. Anya proactively confessed everything to the teachers. However, she didn't mention Julian's name. Afterwards, she was indeed severely reprimanded by the teachers and forced to apologize to Mayan in front of all the teachers and students on Monday. When Mayan returned home, she locked herself in her room, refusing to come out. I didn't understand. The matter was resolved, so what was there to be distressed about? I wasn't that fragile before. But I hadn't expected Anya to be someone who dared to do things and then take responsibility. Seeing her face downcast, I couldn't help but voice my suspicion. "Why do you keep staring at Mayan?" She saw that there were only two of us and whispered. Because of Mayan's presence, I realized I wasn't my parents' flesh and blood. My heart was incredibly heavy. The parents who loved me since childhood were people I had taken from someone else. The girl paused, then added, "I also wanted to give Mayan back, but my birth parents didn't want me to return. They only wanted money." Recalling the people who raised me, it was true they were capable of such things. They even thought I was their biological daughter to the extent of being willing to trade me for money. How could they care about Anya? She couldn't hold back her tears, crying loudly. "I'm only 16. I don't know where I'll go if I leave the Kui family. I'm afraid of being abandoned. I really want to live happily with her, but she always bullies me. I'm afraid she'll leave me." "What? Why don't I know about this?" I looked at her. I didn't understand why I made her feel that way. Anya cried and said, "After Mayan came, I was always compared to her. I wasn't good at studying and my parents always scolded me. Mayan came and she was better at studying than me. My parents kept scolding me and my brother called me stupid. I tried to win Mayan over, but she didn't care about me. She also called me stupid." I could understand. Initially, I truly didn't like Anya. I felt that even though she had swapped lives with me, she didn't cherish what she had. She didn't study, didn't try to improve herself, only cared about dressing up and looking pretty. So when she offered me jewelry and bought me some silk dresses, I flatly refused. I didn't have the chance to play the role of a rich daughter, nor did I want to become a rich family's princess myself. Even when Mayan sought a tutor, my parents still scolded me. They said Mayan was diligent and hardworking, while I only cared about my appearance, not studying hard, having no ambition. "But I've always been like this. Why did no one say anything to me before?" she sobbed, choking on her tears. I frowned slightly, not understanding why. Although I didn't like Anya's way of life, I didn't think she was wrong. If I had been pampered by my parents since childhood and hadn't faced difficulties, I would probably have lived a comfortable, happy life like that, without grand ideals. The Kui family had pampered this girl so much, yet now they were blaming her for not trying. Why didn't they reflect on their own parenting style? Everyone has their own way of life. There's no need to live like others. I looked at her and said, "Do you think this is Mayan's fault? Even without you, she would still try hard to study." "It's our parents and brother who constantly compare you to her." Although I was currently in Arthur's body, saying this felt truly strange. She was silent for a moment, then nodded softly. "It seems so." In her heart, she felt unhappy but continued, "Our parents and brother love me very much. When they say such things, it's for my own good. Perhaps it's because I'm useless that I blame Mayan. It's all my fault. I'm terrible." I looked at the girl and added, "Mayan studies hard because she comes from a poor mountain region. She has experienced many hardships. When she gets an opportunity, she wants to seize it, not just to change her own life, but also to thank those who helped her. That's the burden she carried throughout the months she couldn't attend school in the impoverished countryside. Only now can she focus on finishing high school. As for you, you grew up protected by the Kui family, never experiencing such hardship, and you don't need to live like Mayan. If Mayan hadn't been mistakenly swapped at birth, raised under the Kui family's protection, she would be just like you, perhaps even less capable. During my time in the Kui family, I had seen how the Kui parents cared for their children. Their love for their daughters was pampering, and their love for their son was strict. When I was Mayan, Anya and I had the most pocket money in the house. 3 meals a day were prepared according to our preferences. Whether it was precious jewelry or beautiful clothes, our parents bought them for us. And Arthur, as the elder brother, had to be yielding and tolerant of us. For me, someone who had never experienced true family affection, this was the first time I felt the warmth of a family atmosphere. However, after Arthur and I swapped souls, my thoughts changed. When Arthur had his birthday, I received company shares from our Qui parents. At that time, I asked Mother Qui, "You've given me so much. Won't Mayan and Anya lose their shares later?" Mother Qui smiled and said, "Your two younger sisters will eventually marry out. The company's future will be in your name. After all, you can protect your sisters." Father Qui nodded. "Daughters only need branded goods and jewelry. Company shares for them aren't useful." At that moment, I realized that although the strictness towards Arthur was to train him as an heir, the pampering and leniency towards Anya and me were precisely because, from the very beginning, they had excluded us from inheriting the family fortune. What was particularly striking was that I couldn't deny my parents' love for us. They understood my and Anya's feelings, loving and indulging us to the fullest. But when it came to dividing the family assets, we were sidelined. This was very familiar to me. When I lived in the countryside, other families were also like this. They were famous for doting on their daughters. Even when frying fritters, they had to invite their daughters to eat first. But when dividing land or property, daughters had no share. They not only used their daughters' bride prices to force their sons into marriage, but also demanded that married daughters contribute money to help the family build houses for their younger brothers. It turned out that something more terrifying than all favoritism was that parents were completely unaware of their own bias. Anya wiped tears from her cheeks, asking doubtfully, "Brother, why have you changed? Before, you used to say I was obsessed with beauty, foolish, didn't study, and wasn't even as good as Mayan from the mountains. You said that to me, didn't you?" I continued speaking. Anya nodded, recalling Arthur's words when he scolded her from childhood. I was surprised to realize that Arthur's scolding of Anya was no less harsh than his scolding of me. Ever since I moved into the Qui family home, Arthur didn't like me, often saying that Anya was his only sister. I thought their relationship was good. It turned out Arthur treated us both quite equally. The only difference was that I resisted, while Anya didn't. It turned out the favoritism Anya and I received was actually an indulgence from our parents and Arthur as the heads of the family. The difference was that our parents cared more about my personality and development over the years, so they leaned towards me. Arthur, on the other hand, preferred obedient, compliant, and not stubborn younger sisters, so Anya fit his criteria better and he favored her more. Anya looked at me confused. "Brother, do you really think that?" I nodded. She was silent for a moment, then said, "Brother, you've really changed. Before, you wouldn't have said so many things to me. Actually, I really shouldn't blame Mayan. She didn't make things difficult for me, it's just because I was scolded too much that I blamed her." She took an unopened designer handbag from her closet. It was her favorite handbag, one she had to wait 2 weeks for. She tried to hide the regret on her face and said, "I want to apologize to Mayan. I'll give her this bag." "I'll give it to you, it'll be a second apology. I have to stand in front of all the teachers and students in the school to admit my mistake to Mayan." "That's fine," I said. At this moment, Arthur's soul was in my body with his mind. Who knew what he might do in a fit of anger? I took the bag and felt truly moved. It turned out Anya could also be reasonable. If so, why, when she used to cause trouble for me, did no one try to make her understand? Neither our parents nor Arthur explained it to her. Perhaps in their eyes, the conflict between two girls was just a struggle for affection. As long as I sided with someone, or if our parents favored me and Arthur favored Anya, our relationship would only become more strained. If someone had given way appropriately between us, perhaps our relationship wouldn't have been so tense. Anya confessed her mistake in front of the entire school, apologizing to Arthur, who was in my body. Our Qui parents also disciplined her, temporarily stopping her pocket money for 3 months as punishment. The Qui household was quiet for a long time. Only Arthur and I were worried because we still couldn't find a way to switch back. One of the disadvantages of me being in Arthur's body was that I, a 10th grade student, still had to attend 12th grade exams. The results, as imaginable, would be disastrous. Evidence showed that Arthur had previously fallen out of the top 5 of his class. Our parents were also bewildered. Mother Qui grew even more anxious. She constantly monitored my studies. Tutoring sessions increased from 4 times a week to 8, occupying all my free time. Of course, my academic results showed a slight improvement. I always thought that the Qui parents didn't care much about academic results. When I was Mayan, I hired tutors to make up for my weaknesses, studying late into the night. Mother Qui always advised me with a pampering expression, "Mayan, my daughter, you don't have to work so hard. Your parents don't care what scores you get as long as you're good. But good scores don't necessarily guarantee a good future." They treated Anya the same way. Even if Anya failed exams, they wouldn't scold her, continuing to pamper her. But when my soul entered Arthur's body, after one failed exam, Mother Qui became intensely involved in my studies, scolding me for not studying well enough to succeed in society later, especially since I didn't know martial arts. When I was Mayan, my parents, teachers, and friends all consoled me, saying that girls weren't good at natural sciences. But when I was Arthur, they encouraged me to try learning multiple times. No one is born talented, they said. Thus, society's expectations for sons and daughters were different. My parents didn't not care about grades, they just didn't care about their daughters' grades because they assumed daughters wouldn't have inheritance rights and didn't need to be excellent in society. They assumed daughters only needed to marry well later, not be outstanding. However, freedom in that way wasn't true freedom. Recently, my midterm exam scores had improved a bit, coinciding with Mayan's first birthday since returning home. My parents decided to throw a lavish birthday party. On her birthday, Mayan became the main character, while Anya stood happily beside her. Lately, she seemed much quieter and less talkative. Perhaps she had overcome the shock of having to apologize in front of all the teachers and students in the school. Some of Mayan's classmates gathered around me, asking about things not world affairs but new technologies. I could handle these things, but when they asked me about study methods, I truly didn't know what to do. I wasn't Arthur, a truly excellent student. I was still struggling to keep up with the 12th grade pace, yet I was being asked about study methods. I felt annoyed seeing them constantly trying to talk to me. It wasn't until my parents came looking for me, asking if I had seen Anya, saying she had been gone for a long time, that I felt uneasy. I quickly took out my phone to call her, then saw Anya's phone on the table. "Where did that child go? It's time to cut the cake, and today is her and Mayan's birthday," my mother asked suspiciously. Someone said they saw Anya in the maid's room. I went to look, knocking on the door, but didn't find her. As I was about to leave, I heard knocking from a nearby storage room. I called someone over and the room was locked. The scene before me made my hair stand on end. In the storage room, there were over a dozen hand-sized spiders and 2 small, spotted snakes. Anya sat curled in a corner, her face contorted with fear. My parents saw this sight, their expressions also changing. Everyone immediately rescued Anya and cleared away the spiders and snakes. Mother Qui hugged Anya, comforting her through tears. "Don't be scared, tell Mother what happened." Anya cried silently without saying anything. In contrast, some guests gathered around said they had seen Anya playing happily with some classmates. The mentioned individuals immediately stepped forward to explain. Coincidentally, they were Mayan's close friends who had just been joking with me. Seeing everyone's eyes on them, especially my parents' surprised looks, they hastily clarified that they had been playing a murder mystery game, an escape room-style game, and when Anya had been looking for clues for a long time and hadn't returned, they had stopped and hadn't continued. They also didn't know why Anya was still locked in the storage room. Father Qui checked the security cameras, but found no clues. The incident at the birthday party forced everything to end earlier than planned. But in my heart, I understood. Mayan had done it. The first time Arthur and I swapped souls was also in that storage room, and at that time I had given him a key to the storage room. When it was just Anya and me in the room, she forced a smile. "Brother, thank you today." I hesitated for a moment before daring to voice my feelings. "Do you know who did it?" Anya paused, then just smiled and said, "It was Sister Mayan." I looked at her, surprised. She nodded, then softly continued. "Since the last time I falsely accused Sister Mayan of stealing the exam papers, she was very angry. Even after I spoke in front of the whole school, there was no outcome and she didn't blame me." I recalled that lately, Anya had been unusually quiet at school, no longer as cheerful as before. "Could this incident today not be the first time?" I asked her. Anya said, "Since my self-reflection, many classmates no longer talk to me. Some who protected Sister Mayan always make things difficult for me. Actually, I was wrong too. This is the punishment I deserve." "Why are you being isolated at school?" I looked at her. She nodded faintly. "Like today, being locked in the storage room, I've experienced similar things at school. You've always been locked in the restroom too, it's nothing strange," Anya whispered. "Are you crazy? Why don't you react?" I looked angrily at the girl. At the same time, I also felt scared, not thinking that Arthur hated Anya so much. Anya made mistakes, even though she admitted them and faced punishment. Why wouldn't Arthur forgive her, especially since Anya was the sister he grew up with? When I was Mayan, every time Anya hurt me, Arthur would stand up and scold me harshly, never overlooking anything. In fact, he had taken those critical words he used on me, and now that he was the one being harmed, he still wouldn't forgive. There was no more family affection, only a desire for revenge. Before, he used to criticize the relationship between Anya and me, saying we were both useless girls and he was completely different. But when his soul entered my body, he still held grudges and remembered longer than I did. I was the one who was wrong with Sister Mayan first. It's normal for her to treat me like this, Anya said with a smile. Who doesn't make mistakes? Who can promise not to err their entire life? I've already suffered punishment for my mistakes. If she still bullies me now, that's her fault. I pulled her, wanting to go find Mayan. Stop it. Anya clutched my sleeve, sighing heavily. I frowned at her. She looked at me and said, You're not the real Arthur, are you? My heart jumped. The girl smiled bitterly. Those flower spiders and small snakes in the storage room are my brother's pets. He rents an apartment near the specialized school just to keep pets. Mother doesn't like these things, so he keeps them hidden outside. I saw him once when I was going to school, but he didn't notice me. She spoke softly. And you haven't treated me as well as you did at first. I felt you were strange from the beginning. Most importantly, before, some boys used spiders to scare me, and you just considered it a childish prank. You didn't explain why I should be afraid of insects, nor did you help me get justice. She looked at me curiously. So, who are you? I am Mayan, I answered seriously. Anya didn't seem overly surprised, nodding slightly. So that's it. The person I harmed turns out to be my brother, I nodded, telling her. Actually, it's been a long time. We fell down the stairs together, and when I woke up in the hospital, I had swapped souls with Arthur. Anya seemed to recall something, unable to help but say, But I feel that Arthur is really not as good as you. If it were you and I publicly apologized, you definitely wouldn't hate me. I didn't want to discuss this. What do you plan to do about this? Anya shook her head. After all, he was the brother she grew up with. She didn't want to think too much. She sighed and said, Before, he used to tell me a few things. He said that the rivalry between me and you was too childish, but now it's his turn and he's not tolerant of you. Clearly, his words aren't trustworthy. I never thought of competing with you because it's pointless. Ultimately, our competition is just to gain more family affection. I didn't hate Anya. I felt she simply hadn't recognized her own position. She looked at me curiously. Is that right? I nodded. Yes, affection is something given by those in a high position to those in a low position. Why doesn't Arthur participate in the rivalry between us? He doesn't need our parents' affection. He's also a child in this family. Anya was stunned, not knowing how to answer me. I looked at her. Because Arthur is also in a high position. Only the two of us in low positions have to fight for the affection they bestow. Arthur doesn't need to compete. But do you know what gifts Arthur receives? Isn't it a car? When he's in 12th grade, he'll learn to drive, Anya said blankly. I shook my head. When I was in Arthur's body, what I received was not just a car, but also shares in the family company. I wanted to ask our parents, how many shares will we receive? The answer is none. Anya quickly accepted this, saying, I've been weak and unmotivated since childhood, not putting in effort like you. Brother is considered the heir. I have no opinion. I don't think you're incompetent. Our parents simply didn't have time to monitor your academic performance like they did Arthur's, I said. Looking closely, if Anya and I hadn't been swapped at birth today, the pampered, arrogant, and poor-performing child might have been me. You're not lying to me, are you? It's the first time someone has praised me like this. Anya looked at me in surprise. You can clearly remember branded clothing items. Many items stunned me at first glance, but you can remember each one clearly. This proves your memory is extremely sharp for things you know. I looked at her. In short, no matter how hot an item is, even if it's out of stock, you can find a place to buy it. This shows you're very good at information retrieval and resource exploitation. Someone unintelligent wouldn't be able to do such things. In reality, Anya wasn't useless. She just lacked good guidance. My own past wasn't bad after all. Even though I started with nothing, and my birth parents wanted to sell me, I quickly saw the harshness of life. I met Principal Liu, who guided me to see that not everything depends on parents. Therefore, studying was very important. Yet Anya, despite coming from a wealthy family and being pampered by her parents, they only wanted to turn her into an innocent princess under the family's protection. She had never seen what real life was like. Everything had been arranged for her. She herself didn't understand why people needed to be independent. She had no motivation to strive, only the habit of following her brothers' and parents' arrangements for her life. She also had no drive to succeed and didn't feel capable of doing anything. "This isn't a big deal. I'm not as good as you say." Anya looked at me, smiling shyly and nodding. That night, I decided to find Arthur, who was in my body. "You're truly cruel to do such things. Anya is the sister you grew up with." I looked at him. "You have no proof, don't randomly accuse people." He flatly refused. "I'll give you the key to the storage room. The spiders and snakes in there are your hidden pets, aren't they? The ones you keep behind our parents' backs." He narrowed his eyes. "How do you know? Don't make things difficult for Anya anymore. Not at school, not at home. If not, tomorrow I'll bring our parents to your secret pet area. I'll throw them all away." I stared at him. "You wouldn't dare." He looked at me angrily. "What's there not to dare? After all, in everyone's eyes, only I am Arthur." I looked at him. Perhaps because he feared I would actually do it, he remained silent for a long time. However, we still couldn't find a way to switch back, forced to live in each other's bodies. Not knowing when we could return, I began to fully concentrate on keeping up with the 12th grade pace. My days were entirely occupied by studying. Even during lunch breaks and washing my face, I didn't forget to learn vocabulary and do homework. My parents even felt I was too caught up in studying. In contrast, Arthur, who had invaded my body, became increasingly lazy. Studying in 10th grade was simple, and without parental supervision or academic pressure, he began partying with friends, not touching a textbook for a long time. By the final exam, my performance had improved a bit. My parents gave me 2 weeks off. I quickly took Arthur to the mountains. Of course, Anya came along too. The mountain road was long and rugged. We had just gotten off the plane and had to wait another 4 hours for a bus. Anya was exhausted, falling asleep on the ground. Arthur couldn't stand it and started complaining. "If you want to go, go by yourself. Why drag me along? Don't blame me for having to carry your body, because everyone thinks you're mine," I retorted. I didn't want to carry their bodies either. Life in the mountains wasn't something pampered rich kids like them could endure. I led them down the mountain, walking on the path to the girls' schoola muddy path after a heavy rain. Anya and Arthur both grimaced. It was clear how much they were trying to endure. I used to walk this path to school every day. "Just bear with it a little longer, and we'll be there," I comforted them. Knowing I was coming, Principal Liu had been waiting at the school gate for a long time. The girls' school was on winter break. Only a few teachers were at home preparing lessons. Girls' schools in the mountains had limited funds and couldn't afford many reference materials. The teachers' abilities were also limited. They didn't know what study methods urban universities were using or what study materials were like. The university entrance exam was, in fact, a test of information disparity for teachers in remote mountain areas. Their vision was limited, and they didn't have access to vast information resources. Even if they tried their best, it wasn't enough. The children in the mountains could only try with simple methods because studying was the only way for them to leave the mountains. But this path was not easy. We had to go through the university entrance exam under conditions of closed information and limited resources, requiring immense effort and struggle. I was truly fortunate to be adopted by my Kui parents. They gave me better educational resources and showed me a broader world. Therefore, I wanted to bring this luck to the mountains, sharing it with those who were once like me. When I brought a suitcase full of study materials to Principal Liu, the teachers were overjoyed. They had been to bookstores here, but had never seen this kind of neatly arranged study material. I nudged Arthur hard on the shoulder, the one in my body. He stopped talking and reluctantly opened his mouth to speak as I had instructed. "Principal Liu, these are study materials I collected from my high school." Seeing the worried eyes of the teachers, I sighed. "My school is one of the most famous private schools in Haithan. In one class, half the students are admitted to prestigious universities without having to take the entrance exam. Some of the remaining students go abroad, and the rest who take the university exam are admitted to top 985 universities or higher." This time, the teachers understood. Their eyes lit up. They took the materials and said they would carefully review them and figure out how to incorporate them into their curriculum. Principal Liu even held Mayan's hand, praising her profusely, saying it was truly wonderful. Perhaps the teacher's gratitude affected Arthur. For the first time, he blushed and smiled shyly. "It's nothing for me, it's just a small matter." I immediately nudged Arthur. He noticed right away, took a bank card from his wallet, and handed it to Principal Liu, saying, "Principal, please take this bank card. There are 50,000 yuan in it, money I earned before." I had previously offered money to Principal Liu, but she had flatly refused, even scolding me. saying it was my parents' pocket money and she couldn't accept it. However, I still wanted to do something for Principal Liu, for the girls' school, because everything I had today was thanks to her help. So, when I returned to the Kui family, I was idle and started thinking about how to earn money. But the poverty mindset also appeared in one aspect. While I was still thinking about whether there were any part-time jobs I could do, in reality, the private school I attended had a startup group. This was something I only found out when talking to a few classmates. When I left the group, I realized that my classmates had already started small-scale startups based on their interests. Some knew programming and were doing AI startups. Some knew how to draw and were designing advertisements. I looked around. I followed a classmate to cook and sell sweet cakes because this job was the easiest. Before swapping bodies with Arthur, I sold cakes, invested in funds with friends, and helped friends edit videos. I had accumulated a total of 50,000 yuan. Principal Liu wanted to refuse, but I hastily grabbed her hand. Don't refuse. This is money Mayan earned. You know, my pocket money from the family is quite a lot, but 50,000 yuan is nothing to Mayan. Moreover, this is her sincerity. Principal Liu nodded, accepted it, and we all ate a delicious meal together. That evening, she personally cooked homemade chicken and a pot of hot sweet potato porridge. For me, it was a delicacy I hadn't eaten in a very long time. As for Arthur and Anya, they were completely unfamiliar with the taste. That night, we stayed in the teacher's dormitory. It was called a dormitory, but it was actually just a few temporarily converted empty rooms. I went up the mountain behind the school to look around. This was something I used to do often. Anya came and sat beside me asking, "Sister, can you tell me about your life before?" I immersed myself in memories, saying, "I woke up at 5 a.m. just like the chickens in the house. Then I worked in the fields. At 8 a.m., I went to school for the first class. Back then, my time was calculated by the minute. 15 minutes for breakfast, 5 minutes for the restroom." Anya asked in surprise, "Why did you have to do that?" I looked at her for a long time, finally saying, "I was at the top of the county high school exam, but I had to drop out because someone came to ask for my hand in marriage, offering a bride price of 20,000 yuan. Not only did everyone find that normal, even I did at the time, thinking it was enough. It was Principal Liu who helped me. She paid 20,000 yuan to my parents, allowing me to go to school. She told me that this was wrong and that I had to study hard and get out of this mountain region." I chuckled softly. "Why do you think something like that is normal?" Immediately, Arthur in my body spoke up. He had appeared behind me at some point, asking with surprise. Anya echoed, "Exactly. 20,000 yuan isn't even enough for me to buy a bracelet." She lightly caressed the arm wearing a branded ring. "But what is the reality?" I slowly began. "My neighbor's older sister's family also raised pigs, and one day, the pigs were poisoned, causing the family to lose their source of income. She had to drop out of school at 17 and marry to get a bride price to solve her family's immediate problems. My best friend, due to extreme family hardship, dropped out at 15 and followed her brother to work in Myanmar. Now I can't contact her anymore." Seeing their somber faces, I smiled and said, "In our small village, this is very normal. Every girl who drops out of school has a terrible family behind her, a family that favors sons over daughters. Principal Liu wants to change all of this. She wants to pull young girls out of the abyss, using education to eliminate ignorance." Arthur and Anya said nothing more. This was their first time in the mountains, witnessing firsthand where I had lived a life they couldn't even imagine. That night, behind the mountain, the trees and grass were dense. We walked for a long time and still saw no one. I led them down the mountain, reminding them to watch their step, but Arthur wasn't paying attention. He missed a step and rolled down. Anya next to him screamed. I quickly grabbed Arthur. I was also pulled down and both of us rolled down. When I finally woke up, Arthur and I were in the county hospital. Beside us was Principal Liu, looking regretful. I tentatively reached out my hand and realized I was back in my old body. Arthur next to me had also just woken up. He was looking at me in surprise. From Principal Liu's words, I learned that last night, when Arthur and I rolled down the mountain, Anya had run to inform Principal Liu. They quickly took us to the county hospital that night. Our Kui parents rushed over, and seeing that we weren't seriously injured, they breathed a sigh of relief. After returning from the girls' school, Arthur and Anya changed a lot. Arthur became more restrained, no longer resenting me and Anya as before. Anya actively approached me, attending tutoring sessions with me. I devoted myself wholeheartedly to honing my knowledge, cultivating my hobbies, and focusing on my studies. 2 years of high school passed quickly. With good academic performance, I won many medals in competitions and was directly admitted to Z University without needing to take the university entrance exam. My parents happily celebrated for me. At the family party, my parents even gave me a luxury car. I smiled and told my parents, "Before, when brother came of age, you didn't just give him a car, you also gave him company shares. I also want shares like that." When Arthur and I swapped souls, they had given Arthur 8% of the company's shares. Mother Qui chimed in, "Your brother will return to work in the company later, so we give him shares to help him have a position in the company." I pretended to be naive. "Then why can't I work in our family company?" My mother was stumped, not knowing how to answer. Anya spoke up to explain, "Sister Mayan is no less capable than brother. She was even directly admitted to Z University." "I don't think about shares, but why shouldn't Sister Mayan get them? Are our parents' words of love fake?" My Qui parents looked at each other. They hadn't considered why they excluded their daughters from such privileges. Anya, my younger sister, couldn't bear it because her older sister, Mayan, was truly too capable and in many aspects even more outstanding than her brother, Arthur. Rarely, Arthur also spoke up in agreement. "All right, we can give a portion of the shares to Mayan." Father Qui, who was familiar with the business world, thought for a moment and said, "Mayan, as long as you prove yourself to be more outstanding than Arthur throughout your university studies, I will give you shares similar to Arthur's." All right. Although my Qui parents were gender-biased, I at least had the opportunity to prove myself worthy, to confidently stand at the negotiating table. After receiving my scholarship, I started my summer vacation early. I returned to the mountains to help Principal Liu teach the younger male students. Many teachers here had previously studied at the girls' school, then passed exams and returned to teach. I resumed my habit of waking up at 5 a.m., simply because besides tutoring, I was also busy with my startup work with friends. The girls' school in the mountains had extremely difficult conditions. The restrooms had to be shared with the neighboring school, and there was no separate dining hall, so reference books were very rare. After all, the biggest scarcity in life is money. Therefore, for me, studying and earning money were equally important. My every day was packed with a dense schedule, leaving no time to talk to my family. It wasn't until something happened to Anya that my mother called, telling me to come back and comfort her. I quickly booked a flight home. As soon as I arrived at the door, I saw my parents scolding Anya. Even Arthur was endlessly angry, yelling, "Are you crazy? For one man, you're toying with your fate like this." Through everyone's words, I learned that Anya had secretly changed her university application preferences. Her scores could have gotten her into a top-tier university, but she had changed her preference to a third-tier university because her childhood boyfriend, Julian, could only get into a third-tier university. The two had promised to attend the same university. Julian was the son of my parents' business partner. He had poor academic performance and was Anya's classmate. They grew up together. Before I arrived, the two families had joked about an engagement between them. They had a very good relationship. When Anya pushed me down the stairs, she already knew that Julian wanted to marry the asterisk real daughter of the Qui family. Anya stubbornly said, "We truly love each other." "I always want to be with the person I love. What did I do wrong?" She was almost infatuated. My Qui parents looked at their beloved daughter with heartache. They had quickly learned of the Chu family's intentions. Ever since they found their lost daughter, the Chu family no longer mentioned the engagement between Julian and Anya. Even if Julian had feelings for Anya, he didn't want to go against his parents. Everyone could understand how difficult it would be for Anya to marry into the Chu family. Mother Qui tried to persuade her. "Anya, you're still young. It's not time to think about marriage. Trust mother. Let's not go to a third-tier university. Study for another year and choose a better university. Don't you want Julian to truly love me? Why is everyone stopping me? After all, I'm not your biological daughter. Is that why you're treating me this way?" Anya's cruel words, spoken in despair, stung the Qui family. I couldn't take it anymore and slapped her. "You're not their biological daughter, but our parents raised you. Their sacrifices and genuine love weren't in vain. If you don't trust them, then what reason do you have to trust a man who has no feelings for you, who would love you forever just because he's your childhood friend? He wouldn't even argue with his parents for you. What did he tell you? Just sweet words, painting a beautiful future." Earlier, at a ceremony, someone had joked that Anya and Julian had an engagement from childhood. At that time, Julian's parents said nothing, and Julian didn't want to talk about it, leaving Anya to stew in her shame alone. Anya broke down, sobbing, What should I do? I'm not the Kui family's biological daughter. Why are my parents like this? I'm just afraid that one day my sister will leave me all alone. Only Julian will stay with me. I just want a home of my own. Mother Kui painfully hugged the girl, saying, "We won't abandon you. You are a daughter of the Kui family." But the Chu family is out of the question. Mother will find you a decent man. I truly couldn't stand it anymore. I said, "Is it true that girls must marry? Can't women live without men? Is women's value limited to marriage and childbirth? Do you know how many young girls in those mountains are forced to drop out of school and marry? How many people want to study, want to pursue their dreams, but are forced to give them up? They don't have the chance to choose, yet you have the opportunity, and you're giving up your beautiful life for a few sweet words." I also came up from that abyss. That's why I utterly despise people who lack self-respect like Anya. She seemed to have all the conditions to choose a better life for herself, yet she wasn't physically independent, only relying on men. Mother Kui looked at Anya, who was sobbing uncontrollably, and said loudly, "Mayan, don't pressure your sister anymore. Anya isn't like you. You have ideals and principles, but you also have to allow others to live their own lives." To be honest, Mother Kui was a good mother. In the years I returned to live with the Kui family, she always paid attention to her 3 children, either urging Arthur to study, or taking Anya to piano practice, or closely monitoring me to keep up with my studies at school. Anya said, "Mother, you always strive to contribute your best for the family so that Arthur can become a good student. Anya can win medals in piano competitions only because of Mother Kui's sacrifice, and I can achieve success in a short time." I looked at Mother Kui. "Mother, when you were young, you were an excellent student, but since marrying father, you gave up everything to return and care for the family. You sacrificed better opportunities in your life to help your children succeed. And when we grow up to marriageable age, will we also have to sacrifice better opportunities in our lives, just as mother sacrificed and worried for her children? If we have daughters, will they also fall into this endless cycle? Ultimately, who will succeed?" Mother Kui unconsciously shook her head. "I don't want my daughters to be like me. I don't want you to follow my path. Why are you doing this now? Why are you thinking about finding a good family for Anya? Why don't you demand of us what you demand of our brother just because we are daughters?" This was what pained me. Mother Kui loved us because she was also a traditional woman. It was so difficult to escape societal norms for women. She always thought that marrying and having children was the best choice. Afterwards, Anya decided to restudy for the college entrance exam. She started earlier than me. Before leaving, she came to my room one night and slept with me. She asked me, "Sister, am I a daughter who was spoiled rotten by my parents? I feel that you're right. A daughter shouldn't consider education and talent as everything, but must build herself up. How old are you to already be calling yourself useless?" I gently patted her head. She smiled and said, "I don't understand everything you say, but I will try to understand." Before school started, I received some rewards from my parents. For the first time, they gave me an opportunity like Arthur's. During the winter break, Arthur and I both interned at the Kui company. Mother Kui held my hand. "Mayan, before, your parents' thinking was very wrong. We thought daughters should eventually marry. That's an old way of thinking, not fitting for today's era. We are now learning to change. Later, if there's anything wrong, please tell us." Father Kui opposite also nodded. I was truly fortunate to return and live with the Kui family. Because all parents who love their children are those who dare to admit their mistakes and change for their children.